Hello there. Hi. Thanks for joining. Today, I thought I'd make a quick video trying to tackle the age-old question of would you be better off sticking with an FPL team consisting of the highest point scorers for the year? So that all-star dream team of the 11 highest point scorers, going with that from game week one through the whole season? Or would you be better off taking ungodly amounts of hits each week and bringing in the highest scoring players for that specific game week each week? So, all star dream team for every single game week, or a team of, a motley crew of random high goal scorers each week, high point scorers each game week, no matter how many hits that it costs you. So that's what I'm going to look at. And I've crunched the numbers. So we're at the midway point for the season, aren't we? So we're at the midway point. This is as of end of game week 18. All the points that we're going to look at. So midway points for the season, the all-star team up to this point, and then every single game week's worth of stars up to this point as well. And we'll see who's got the most points and see if there's anything useful or interesting we can derive from the results. Maybe there isn't, but I'll leave that up to you. So let's have a look. So, done what is the question? So, team of the season so far, here it is on your screens now. So, the team of the season so far has 1,143 points up to game week 18. So we're just under halfway. So if you'd stuck with this team from game week one, you would have 1,143 points, plus, of course, the captaincy points. So let's assume you've captained the highest scoring player, which is Haaland. So that's 1,143 points plus 142 points, which would give you 1,285 points at the midway point through the season. And of course, we're not at the midway point. It's game week 18. And game week 7, if you remember, didn't happen. So I've extrapolated out those points to the end of the season to determine what we would have got, what you would be looking to get. And that's 2,712 points in total, which of course would mean you win FPL easily. It's a massive score. You'd be doing great if you'd stuck with this team from game week one. So there it is. And how good is this team itself? Well, it's the usual. It shouldn't be of any surprise that this team is made of good players, is it? Because they're the players that we know this season have been scoring really well. Tony, Kane, Haaland, Almiron, Odegaard, Martinelli, Salah, Saliba, Shah, Trippier, and Pope. So very Newcastle heavy. And Arsenal heavy, which is unsurprising. Something I've just noticed is there's 4 Newcastle players here, so you actually couldn't have this team. Maybe that makes this a moot point, this whole video, but let's carry on with the experiment because I've done all the prep for it and I'm mid-filming. So let's move on. This bit I think is more interesting. So what I've done is I've taken every single game week's team of the week and I've figured out how many points that would have got you, including captaincy, but then how many hits it would take to bring in the next week's team of the week, because that's what we'd be doing, right? So the maximum amount of hits you'll be taking is a -40, isn't it, to bring in that next team of the week, because you get the 1 free transfer, but then you also get, you've got to make 10 other transfers, which would be a -40. Now, first interesting thing I found was most of the time you have to make all 10. So it's very rare that a player makes the team of the week in consecutive weeks. In fact, that only happened up to game week 18. That only happened 10 times. So 10 times in 10 instances, a player made the game week team of the week in 2 consecutive instances. Which was less than I thought, really. So it was more hits than I thought you'd have to take. But let's look at the final numbers. So the total points before hits taken for the team of the week every single week, cumulatively to game week 18, was 2,602 points. So that's only 100 or so points off the entire season projection for that all-star team. Now, 2,600 points sounds great, doesn't it? It sounds lovely, but we haven't taken the hits on board. So we haven't taken the hits yet. So bearing in mind what I just said, there was only 10 times when a player rolled over to the next week. That means you have to take basically a minus 40 most weeks. So I've crunched the numbers. So most weeks it's minus 40. Now and again, there's a minus 32 because 2 players were in the same. There's a couple of minus 36s, but mostly it's minus 40s all the way through. And that totals to a minus total of 680 points. So you're taking, 680 points worth of hits. I can't figure out how many individual hits that is. Just divide that by 4. But minus 680 points. So 2,602 points minus the 680 gives you 1,922 points up to game week 18. And that is, in conclusion, really loads of points because the game week, have I brought in the captaincy? Yes, that includes captaincy points, that 2,602. So that 1,922 points across the 18 game weeks, which is net of hits, is way more than the All-Star team got 1,285. So if I extrapolate that out, it gives you 4,057 FPL points if you got brought in the team of the week every week, regardless of hits, which is insane. You'd easily win the whole thing by over 1,000 points. So isn't that crazy? Isn't that insane? So that's far more. I thought that might be the case, that you would be better off than the premium team all season, but that's an incredible discrepancy. And it makes me think I just need to take more hits. So strange one, yeah. Couple of interesting takeaways, I guess. The highest game week score for an individual team of the week was game week 9, where 160 points got scored from game week 9, and I'll bring it up here for you. So an insane scores. It was the week where Haaland got 23 points, Trossard got 20, Foden 19. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? So that's 160 plus the 23 for captaining Haaland, 183 points in a single game week. Just crazy. And the lowest of all, so with that 160, even if you take the minus 40 to get there, you're still getting 120 points. Similarly, the lowest score was 116 points that you would have had to take a hit of minus 36 to get. So that's still 80 points, and that's the minimum you'd get in all of this. So you'd still be really pleased with that 80 points for a game week. I'd snap your hand off now, the season I'm having. So yeah, interesting stuff, isn't it? The most occurring players, I thought, hang on, how many players are really getting in these teams of the week? Sort of who's in there multiple times. It's so interesting how it's such a different set of players each time. But there were quite a few players that are in there more than once. So there's one player who's in there 6 times out of the 18. Probably easy to guess who it is. It's Haaland. So 6 times out of 18, which is insane. 1 in every 3 game weeks have had him in, which just shows the season he's having. But then there's 3 players who have been in there 4 times out of the 18 game weeks: Cancelo, Odegaard, and Tony. So Odegaard and Tony, I'm not really surprised about. They're having great seasons. But Cancelo, it feels like he's having a bad season for his standard. But he's in there 4 out of 18 times. So well done him, I guess. And then there's a few more players in there 3 times. So Almiron, Dalot, Rodrigo, Salah, and Trippier, all in there 3 times each. No real surprises there. Maybe Dalot You know, he hasn't played every game. He's doing well every time he comes in. Salah, Trippier, Rodrigo, and Almiron, not surprising. They're kind of the stars of the season, aren't they, so far? And then a bunch of players are in there twice, and obviously most players were in there just once. So interesting. Goalkeeper wise, there's only one keeper that's been in there 3 times, and that's Ward. Sarr has been in there twice, and Meslier as well, but the others in there once. So that kind of tells me just stick with a keeper. Don't bother trying to guess who the best keeper is. Just stick with one, and that's that. So there it is. Really, that's all the research I've done. To me, it just tells me, and it kind of backs up these other videos we've been doing, where we've looked at like the value of a hit and should you take a hit or should you not? How important is that -4? And again, it leans into the it kind of leans into the suggestion of just take the hit, take those hits, hit happy. Like, you're not going to obviously guess the best game week team every week, but there's such a big difference there between going with the best scoring players and sticking with them throughout the season to just picking the randomers that you think will do well. There's just a massive difference there. 4,557 points compared to 2,713. Like, you've got scope to even go wrong there and still beat it. So yeah, my conclusion is take more punts, take more hits, have more fun, and you'll likely do better. So thanks a lot. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. Check out our other kind of videos, trying to do these sort of more evergreen general topics than just, oh, who should we pick this week for captain? But if you don't like that, let me know as well. All right. Hope you have a good day. Thanks for listening.